You know that feeling? After talking to someone, it's like,
Huh.
they've just siphoned off all your energy. You're left totally drained.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it turns out the ancient Stoics, those masters of inner calm, they had some surprisingly relevant ideas for handling these. Let's call them difficult people.
Right. So today we're doing a deep dive into 13 clever ways to deal with toxic people's stoicism. This is based on a really good video we found on YouTube from Marcus Aurelius' Stoicism.
And our goal here is really to pull out the practical, Stoic-inspired strategies, the ones you can actually use to deal with these tricky folks without getting, emotionally steamrolled.
Yeah, think of it like we're building your personal Stoic toolkit today.
Yeah.
By the end, you should have some pretty solid techniques to handle those interactions with, well, the video said it nicely, compassion, grace, and even resilience.
We're taking those 13 ideas and really digging into how they can work for you.
Okay, let's jump in.
So the first thing, and the video really emphasizes this, is just recognizing the threat, understanding the dynamic. It uses this great analogy: picture your inner peace, your well-being, as your own personal citadel.
Right, like a fortress.
Exactly. And awareness is your first line of defense. You need to know what you're guarding against.
Makes sense. You have to see the problem coming.
Yeah.
And this is where that core Stoic idea fits in, right? From Epictetus.
Precisely, his Enchiridion. It is not what happens to you that upsets you. It is your judgment of what happens.
Which, when you're talking about difficult people, is huge. It's not just what they do, it's how we react, how we judge it that really messes with our inner calm.
Totally. The video talks about developing a Stoic gaze, kind of like stepping back, observing objectively.
Okay. A Stoic gaze. I like that.
Yeah, so you look at the situation calmly and ask yourself, is this really hurting my core self? And learning to spot the patterns of toxic behavior is key to getting that objective view.
So what are the signs? The video mentions some.
Yeah. It does. Things like constant criticism. That's a big one. Could be direct insults or maybe more subtle digs, The kind that just leave you feeling unsure, second-guessing yourself.
Oh, yeah, that constant drip, drip, drip of negativity. It really wears you down.
It does. And then there are the more, let's say, manipulative tactics, like using flattery to get something, or those guilt trips that just seem perfectly designed to make you give in, or even outright threats sometimes.
Oh, yeah. It's all about control, isn't it?
It often is. And then there's the type who just seems to, thrive on negativity, always complaining, focusing on the worst, and unfortunately often trying to pull others down with them.
Ugh, we've all met that person.
Right. The video also helpfully breaks down a few common types. You've got the narcissist,
Okay.
always seeking approval, maybe charming at first, but the conversation is always one-sided. It just leaves you feeling drained because it's all about them.
Yeah, you walk away feeling like you just listened to a really, really long performance.
Exactly. Then there's the gossip, the one who loves social drama, spreads rumors, stirs things up just because.
Because it's chaos for fun.
Got it. And finally, the energy vampire. Just being around them leaves you feeling exhausted, mentally and emotionally fatigued.
Right. So understanding these types,
Yeah.
how does that help?
Well, the video links this understanding to creating a kind of mental map.
Ah, like Seneca planning a battle strategy.
Oh,
Okay.
exactly. By recognizing these toxic traits and personalities, you can start to anticipate their strategies and build your defenses. It helps you protect your emotional well-being proactively.
Instead of just reacting when it happens. Okay, so we've identified the threat. What's a core Stoic move for actually dealing with it?
The next really crucial step is fortifying your walls, establishing clear boundaries.
Right. Boundaries.
The video makes a nice comparison here. Just like Marcus Aurelius needed, power, knowledge, determination to run an empire, you need those same qualities to strengthen your inner citadel, your emotional well-being.
That makes sense. Boundaries are the foundation, aren't they? They define what's okay and what's not okay in how people treat you.
Absolutely. And the video highlights how Stoicism emphasizes reason and self-control when you're setting those boundaries. It's not about an emotional outburst. It's a rational decision.
Okay, so how do you actually do it, practically?
Well, the video lays out some steps. First, you really need to identify what drains you, what feels like it violates your sense of self. Is it that relentless pessimism, manipulative comments, unsolicited advice?
So self-awareness first.
Yeah.
Knowing your own limits.
Exactly. You have to be honest with yourself about what you can tolerate. And then the really key part, communicating those boundaries clearly, concisely.
Oh.
The video suggests using I statements. This is important. Instead of blaming, like, you're always so negative, try something like, I feel really drained when our conversations focus only on the negative.
Okay. Assertive, but not attacking. I get it.
Precisely. And being specific helps too. Instead of just saying, I need space, maybe you can say, I can't chat right now, but I could later this week.
Clear and direct.
And firm, but kind. That's the balance. Assertive, not aggressive.
And it's not just setting them once, right? You have to maintain them.
Absolutely. Consistency is key, like that Stoic ruler guarding the borders. If someone pushes against your boundary, the video advises calmly repeating it. You might even need to limit contact or step back from the interaction if they keep ignoring it.
And the point isn't to punish them.
No, not at all. It's purely about self-protection, safeguarding your emotional well-being. The Stoics warned against envy, right? Which can fuel toxic stuff. Setting boundaries is about self-care, creating space for your own inner peace.
Okay, so the walls are going up. What's the next tactic?
This one's fascinating. Become uninteresting to the emotional barbarian.
Okay, tell me more.
The video paints this picture of an emotional barbarian driven by negativity, always seeking conflict, drama, and they feed off your emotional reactions. Your anger, your hurt, they want that.
Right, they're poking you, trying to get a rise.
Exactly. And the defense. The gray rock method.
Gray rock.
Yeah. It's inspired by Stoic emotional regulation, that indifference to external stuff. A therapist named Paul Fredrickson apparently coined the term. Basically, you make yourself emotionally unresponsive, like a dull gray rock, no emotional handholds for them to grab onto.
Huh. So you just don't react emotionally?
Pretty much, you don't give them the fuel they want.
Yeah.
The video brings in Seneca here. True happiness resides in enjoying the present without anxious dependence upon the future. It's about cutting off that supply of attention, positive or negative, that these individuals often crave.
So you starve them of the reaction, you become boring to them.
Exactly. The technique is about responding to negative stuff with neutral, factual statements. Avoid getting sucked into arguments or justifications.
Can you give an example?
Sure, like if someone insults your work, instead of getting defensive, a gray rock response might just be a calm, that's an interesting perspective, and then nothing, no emotional follow-up.
You just disengage from the drama, the sarcasm, guilt trips, whatever.
Yeah.
Stay composed, stick to facts.
Right, you're not giving them that emotional power over you. Seneca again, right? Don't get caught up in hopes or fears stirred by others.
Makes sense. But is it always effective?
Well, the video notes it's not a magic bullet. Some people might actually escalate at first, trying even harder to get a reaction.
So you have to stay consistent.
Exactly. Stay cool, stay consistent, and remember, their negativity is their issue, not yours. This method helps you shift from feeling like a target to being more like an unmoved observer, protecting your calm.
Okay, so you're being the gray rock. But what if they just keep hammering away, trying to break through that neutrality?
That's where the broken record technique comes in handy. Imagine someone relentlessly trying to push past your boundaries, chip away at your resolve.
Yeah, that persistent manipulation.
This technique draws on that Stoic idea of unwavering reason, perseverance. It's a defense against those kinds of tactics.
Okay, the broken record. How does it work?
It's actually quite simple. You patiently, calmly repeat a clear statement of your position over and over, like a skipping record.
Huh. Just keep saying the same thing.
Yeah. It sounds almost too simple, but the video points out it can be really effective at deflecting attempts to derail you or wear you down.
Yeah.
Keeps the focus on your needs or your decision.
And this links back to Epictetus too, doesn't it? That idea of freedom.
Absolutely. Freedom is the only good, and that includes the freedom to set boundaries and say no without feeling like you owe a huge explanation. The broken record technique really embodies that. You show resolve, you don't get pulled off track.
So if someone's trying emotional tactics, flattery, guilt, anger,
you just keep calmly repeating your statement. It helps you stay grounded in the facts and your needs and deflects those emotional attacks.
and the video mentioned it can throw manipulators off.
Yeah, like a wave crashing against a solid rock. Your consistency highlights the emptiness of their attempts to sway you. It disrupts their usual flow.
And it's not about fighting back aggressively.
Not at all. It's calm, focused boundary enforcement, rooted in Stoic reason. It's a way to resist being exploited and protect your inner peace with determination.
Okay, boundaries set, being a broken record. What else is in the Stoic arsenal?
This one's vital. Don't take the bait.
Okay. like fishing.
Exactly. The video uses that analogy. Toxic people are like anglers casting lines baited with negativity provocations, insults, guilt trips, hoping to hook you into emotional drama.
Right, trying to reel you in.
And the Stoic defense is indifference, but as the video clarifies, it's not apathy. It's not about not caring. It's about emotional detachment from those upsetting feelings and judgments that cloud your reason. Epictetus and others made that distinction carefully.
Okay, so how do you not take the bait?
The video offers steps. First, just be aware of the tactic. Recognize the signals, the sarcastic remark, the veiled insult, the guilt trip disguised as concern. Just seeing it for what it is diminishes its power.
Right, recognizing the hook.
Then, consciously detach from the emotional pull. The bait wants you to feel angry, annoyed, defensive. Stoic indifference is choosing not to get tangled up emotionally.
So you see the bait, maybe examine it coolly, but just don't bite.
Exactly. Let the drama fizzle out because you didn't react. You didn't give it fuel. Those comments just hang there, powerless.
And again, this isn't about being cold or heartless.
No, Stoicism values positive emotions. It just emphasizes detaching from the negative ones you can't control and focusing energy on what you can control, your response.
So you shift from being a player in their game to just an observer, protecting your own serenity.
Precisely. You refuse to get caught in their emotional web.
Okay, so you're not taking the bait. But what if they're just relentlessly negative, even if you're not reacting directly, like a constant verbal assault?
That leads to the art of the non-reaction. The video talks about the verbal gladiator type, someone who actually enjoys heated arguments, uses words like weapons to provoke and humiliate.
Yeah, those people are tough.
And against them, planned silence, the art of the non-reaction, can be surprisingly effective. It's a Stoic strategy.
Silence. How does that work?
It disrupts their expected dynamic. It can be really disarming. The video acknowledges our instinct is usually to jump in, defend ourselves, try to win.
Right. It's hard not to respond.
But Stoicism is about mastering those reactions. Choosing stillness, choosing silence at the right moment shows real control. The video even mentions Marcus Aurelius on the strength of non-reaction.
So it throws them off script.
Exactly. People like that often have patterns. They expect an emotional response. Non-reaction denies them the fuel they crave. It breaks the cycle.
The video had an analogy. Like tennis.
Yeah, a powerful serve into an empty court. It just lands with a thud. Silence.
So the silence isn't just emptiness, it's sending a message.
Definitely. It communicates self-control and unwillingness to engage in negativity. It's a message of strength, of non-attachment.
And there was another Marcus Aurelius quote.
Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Your quiet non-reaction embodies those Stoic virtues. Calm, reasonable, unmoved.
But you need to be prepared. They might escalate.
Yes, the video advises a conscious approach. Be ready for them to potentially try harder, maybe with more insults. The key is staying composed in your quiet.
So quiet is strength here.
It can be a very powerful tool. It's not for every single situation, obviously, but it's a key weapon in the Stoic arsenal to disarm, defend your peace, and show you're in control of your emotions. Refusing to play their game is a powerful statement.
Okay, non-reaction. Makes sense. What other practical steps?
Next up is limit your exposure. Simple, but crucial.
Right, just less time with them.
Exactly. The video uses the citadel analogy. Again, strong walls are great, but sometimes you still need to limit contact with contaminated individuals.
And this fits the Stoic idea of controlling what you can control.
Perfectly. And your time, who you spend it with, that's definitely something you often can control, at least to some degree. Reducing interaction time is a basic defense.
So physically distancing yourself when possible. Rescheduling, leaving a situation.
Yes, politely declining invitations. Removing yourself respectfully. It's not rude, it's self-protection. Like a Stoic leader avoiding pointless battles.
But what when you can't avoid them? Like coworkers, or maybe family.
That's where establishing emotional distance becomes vital. The video suggests a few ways. First, mental detachment.
How does that work?
Back to Epictetus. Happiness and freedom begin with, some things are within our control and some things are not. Mental detachment means understanding their negativity without letting it poison your attitude. Observe them impartially without getting emotionally hooked.
Okay. And cognitive reframing. That was mentioned too.
Yes. Toxic people try to drag you down with their negativity, right? Cognitive reframing, which is very Stoic aligned, means consciously reinterpreting their pessimism. So instead of absorbing their complaining, you might think, they seem to be having a rough day. It becomes an objective observation, not something that pulls you down.
That's a useful shift.
And finally, actively focusing on the positive in your own life. Toxic people feed on negativity, so deliberately focus on your interests, good work, supportive friends. It acts like an emotional shield.
So limiting exposure physically and emotionally isn't running away, it's self-care, protecting your peace.
Exactly. It aligns with living a rational life. Reducing negative interactions gives your own inner life more room to thrive.
Okay, so you're limiting exposure, but the negativity can still sometimes get through, right? What's the next layer?
That leads perfectly into build your support system.
Ah, okay. Calling and reinforcements.
Kind of. The
Got it.
video uses this great image. You're guarding your inner castle. Walls are strong, non-reaction perfected, but you still benefit from a powerful phalanx of trusted allies, your support system.
Right. People you trust.
And this connects strongly to Stoic ideas, especially from Seneca, about living in harmony with nature, which includes having a network of virtuous, supportive people, people who lift you up, share your values, offer guidance.
So how does the support system actually help buffer against toxicity?
Several ways. First, it's a safe space to share. Dealing with toxic people is draining. Talking it through with friends or family who get it provides huge support. Reminds you you're not alone.
Yeah, just venting can help sometimes.
It really can. Also, toxic people can really chip away at your self-worth. A good support system offers encouragement, reminds you of your strengths, your value, bolsters your determination when you feel worn down.
And role models too.
Yes, the Stoics believed in surrounding yourself with people who embody qualities you admire. Your network of supportive, virtuous friends can serve as positive role models. You learn from their strength, resilience, optimism.
Okay, so how do you actively build this stoic phalanx?
The video suggests practical things. Invest quality time with supportive people, meaningful conversations, shared experiences, really listening.
Makes sense.
Also, maybe join groups or volunteer for things aligned with your interests and values. You naturally find like-minded people there. And finally, express gratitude. Tell your supporters how much their presence and support mean to you.
So cultivating this network creates a really strong shield, provides strength, perspective.
And renewed optimism. Even the best fortress needs outside defenses. Your support system is that unwavering phalanx, helping protect your inner serenity.
Okay, support system in place. What other core practices do the Stoics recommend?
This one is absolutely fundamental. Prioritize self-care.
Right, taking care of yourself.
The video compares dealing with toxic people to being in a relentless battle. It drains your emotional energy, leaves you exhausted. Self-care is essential R&R.
Like the Stoic warrior tending their wounds after the fight.
Exactly that image. Self-care isn't a treat. It's a fundamental part of the Stoic lifestyle. A daily routine, an investment in your well-being, just as important as any other task.
So how does self-care actually help build resistance to negativity?
It replenishes your emotional reserves. The video mentions things like engaging in activities that genuinely bring you joy and relaxation.
Hobbies, exercise, art.
Right. Things that help you de-stress, recharge, maybe gain a new perspective. And mindfulness practices, like meditation.
Which is very Stoic, that awareness.
Very much so. Meditation calms the mind, helps you detach from negative thoughts, creates inner peace. It's a great tool for managing stress, whether it's self-inflicted or coming from others.
And nature. The video mentioned that too.
Yes, the Stoics deeply valued living in harmony with nature. Spending time outdoors, parks, woods, anywhere green can significantly boost health and happiness, reduces stress, lifts mood, provides perspective.
So self-care is like preventive maintenance for your emotions.
That's a great way to put it. A well-rested, centered person is just better equipped to handle negativity, like that warrior with sturdy armor and a sharp sword.
And it means listening to your body, not waiting until you're totally burned out.
Absolutely. Pay attention to signs like exhaustion, tension, feeling depleted. Prioritize self-care before burnout. Healthy eating, enough sleep, taking breaks. These basics are the foundation of resilience.
And setting boundaries around self-care time too.
Yes, just like with toxic people, you need to protect that time. Politely decline things. Schedule relaxation. Prioritizing your well-being isn't selfish. It's essential for resilience. It makes you stronger, more balanced, better able to deflect negativity.
Okay, self-care is non-negotiable. What's another key perspective shift the Stoics offer?
This one is so powerful. Remember, it's not about you.
Detaching personally.
Exactly. The video paints this image of a dark cloud overhead, spewing negativity, obscuring your view. That's often what it feels like with toxic people. They're projecting their own stuff onto you. Their worries, insecurities, issues.
Right. It feels personal, but maybe it isn't.
Often it really isn't. The Stoic defense here is something the video calls prosopeia, basically, role-taking. Stepping back and viewing the situation like an objective observer outside the emotional storm.
So you analyze it more impartially.
Yes, you separate yourself from the negativity and focus on the rational aspects. The key is maintaining that detachment, realizing their insults, their negativity are rarely truly aimed at you, but reflect their own inner world.
How does Stoic detachment help here specifically?
By distancing yourself from the emotional charge, you can observe their behavior more objectively, like a scientist. You start to understand their negativity comes from their internal landscape, not as a reflection of your worth.
Like that dark cloud analogy, its shadow passes, but the ground isn't permanently changed. The sun's still up there.
Exactly. And the video brings back Epictetus. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. A reminder not to waste your precious energy on their negativity. Maintain distance, prioritize your well-being, stay on your path.
And again, detachment isn't apathy. You can still feel compassion.
Absolutely. Compassion is possible, but you don't have to become a casualty of their emotional storms. Practicing detachment shifts you from feeling like a target to being a centered observer, protecting your calm. Remember the sun above the clouds.
Okay, remembering it's not about me. But what about that instinct to want to help someone who's behaving badly, especially if it's someone you care about?
That brings us to the very wise, though sometimes difficult, advice. Don't try to fix them.
Ooh, yeah, that can be hard.
It really can be. The video acknowledges that strong urge, but the Stoics understood that trying to directly change others usually just leads to frustration and emotional drain for us.
Why is it counterproductive from a Stoic view?
Well, the video points out that toxic individuals are like plants choked with weeds. They need their own willpower, their own effort to change. You can't force it.
Right. You can't do the work for them.
Exactly. Stoicism emphasizes focusing on what you control, your reactions, your interactions, not trying to control others' behavior. Plus, accountability rests with them. They have to choose to address their negativity. Taking that on for them creates an unhealthy dynamic and actually hinders their growth.
And it violates that core principle of accepting what's beyond your control.
Precisely. Other people's choices fall squarely in that category. The video uses a lovely analogy. Your inner peace is your flourishing garden. Toxic people have weeds in their garden. Don't exhaust yourself trying to weed their garden. Focus on nurturing your own.
Your own positive connections, virtues, self-care.
Exactly. Now, the video does clarify that Stoicism values helping others towards virtue, but within limits. So instead of trying to force change, maybe offer resources.
Like suggesting a book or therapy or gently pointing out consequences.
Right. Resources for their self-reflection. And importantly, the biggest influence is often leading by example, demonstrating Stoic principles, calmness, reason, virtue in your own life. That can be a powerful, quiet teacher.
But sometimes they just don't change.
Sadly, yes, the video acknowledges that. Sometimes, despite everything, a person stays stuck. In those cases, Stoicism advises clear boundaries and, if necessary, withdrawing to protect yourself. You can't control their journey, only your own path.
Okay, so consciously choosing not to be the fixer. But what if, despite all these efforts, boundaries, detachment, not trying to fix them, the negativity is just too much, still damaging?
That leads to the final and sometimes hardest point, when to walk away.
The ultimate boundary.
In a way, yes. The video pictures you in your Stoic castle trying all the defenses, but the toxic negativity is still a persistent threat, breaching the walls.
And the Stoics would support walking away.
Absolutely. The core idea is recognizing when withdrawal is the most appropriate, the most rational course. The video acknowledges how hard this is, especially with family or coworkers, but prioritizing your mental and emotional health is paramount.
It fits with living a rational life, right? Staying in a harmful situation isn't rational.
Exactly. It undermines your inner calm, which goes against Stoic ideals. Your Stoic sanctuary, your inner peace cultivated through all these practices, is precious. A persistently harmful person is like a siege. Walking away protects that sanctuary.
And Seneca's quote about living immediately.
Yes. The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately. Staying stuck wastes precious time and energy. Walking away frees you up to invest in positive connections, meaningful pursuits, things that nourish your spirit.
It's also an act of acceptance, isn't it? Accepting you can't control their behavior.
Precisely. And choosing detachment from the negative emotions tied to that relationship. You're not giving up on the person necessarily, but on the poisonous dynamic.
But it's a big decision. How do you know when it's time?
The video advises careful consideration. Have you tried other things? Communication, boundaries? Is it a recurring pattern? How badly is it impacting your well-being? It shouldn't be taken lightly.
And walking away doesn't have to be some huge drama.
Often not.
Uh,
Gradual withdrawal, limiting communication, politely declining contact can be effective ways to create that necessary distance.
so ultimately, it's an act of self-care, protecting your inner calm.
Yes, a Stoic act. Prioritizing well-being allows you to live guided by reason, virtue, peace, and open space for better things.
Okay, so you've maybe made that incredibly difficult decision to walk away, or even if you haven't, you've endured a lot. What's the final piece of Stoic wisdom for dealing with the aftermath, the lingering feelings?
That brings us to the absolutely crucial last point. Forgive yourself.
Forgive yourself, not them.
Primarily yourself, yes.
Yeah.
The video uses this powerful analogy. Imagine starting a journey carrying a heavy bag filled with hatred, resentment, fury. It slows you down, drains your energy.
Yeah, that's a heavy load.
And in Stoicism, forgiveness isn't about letting the other person off the hook or saying what they did was okay. It's about releasing your emotional baggage for your sake.
Because holding on to hate and resentment only hurts you.
Exactly. It connects back to accepting what's beyond your control, their past actions.
Yeah.
Holding on to those feelings just contaminates your present and clouds your future. It's self-inflicted harm from a Stoic view.
So how do Stoic principles help with self-forgiveness?
By focusing on your inner landscape, governing your own thoughts and actions, that's where your real power lies. Forgiveness is essential to regain control of that inner space, to create serenity.
And it's acceptance, not condoning.
Precisely. Acknowledge what happened, recognize it's past and beyond your control now, and choose to move forward lighter. Marcus Aurelius again. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Forgiveness is reclaiming that power.
It breaks the cycle too, right? Otherwise, they're still affecting you even if they're gone.
Totally. Resentment is like a self-made prison. Holding on to it keeps you tethered to them emotionally. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks those shackles.
How do you actually do it? It's not easy.
No, it's often a process. The video suggests acknowledging your feelings first, the anger, hurt, resentment. Don't suppress them. That hinders healing. Then, practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the kindness you'd offer a friend in the same boat. Remember, you were subjected to their negativity.
Be kind to yourself.
And try to evaluate the event objectively if you can. Shift perspective. Were there other factors involved? Sometimes understanding, even a little, can pave the way for forgiveness. Ultimately, forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It makes room for healing, growth, and a more rewarding life by letting go of that burden.
So you can continue your journey with a lighter backpack, a lighter heart.
Exactly. Ready for what's next with renewed strength and tranquility. By applying these 13 Stoic methods, you really can shift from feeling like a victim to being a resilient warrior for your own inner peace.
And a life less burdened by negativity. That's definitely worth striving for.
Absolutely. So, just to quickly recap, we've seen how Stoicism offers this amazing toolkit. Identifying the threat, building boundaries, the gray rock method, the broken record, not taking the bait, non-reaction, limiting exposure, building support, self-care, remembering it's not about you, not trying to fix them, knowing when to walk away, and finally, forgiving yourself.
That's quite a list. And we really hope you, listening, can think about which of these strategies kind of resonates most with you right now. Maybe just pick one or two to start playing with in your life. And remember, building resilience takes practice. Be patient with yourself.
Yeah, this deep dive is really just scratching the surface. We definitely recommend checking out that original Marcus Aurelius Stoicism video on YouTube for more detail. And maybe even exploring Stoic philosophy itself a bit more. There's so much wisdom there.
And we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Just consider how much more energy, how much more joy, how much more peace you could reclaim in your life if you consistently applied even just one of these Stoic principles in your interactions day to day. It's a pretty powerful thought, isn't it?